YouTube comments from a video titled, "It's Not Just You." Everyone hates Starbucks now.
As Snarful Z wrote,
I remember when I lived in Japan, there were these super unique and cute cafes everywhere. Some specialized in coffee, some in tea and traditional sweets, and some even had some pretty amazing desserts. I'd go to one pretty much every chance I had, and I didn't even like coffee before I moved there, because my only exposure to it was Starbucks, where even the hot cocoa tasted a little burnt. Even the Starbucks in Japan had an overall different vibe and atmosphere, with unique drinks and food offerings you'd never see in the US. Going into a Starbucks in the US really does just feel like going to a McDonald's. At that point, you might as well go to McDonald's and get their coffee, because the price is better and the service is faster, even if the end product is meh regardless.
Ed Aston Sen wrote,
Maybe they should just stick to selling coffee and not trying to capitalize on every single fringe political activism message. They wouldn't have to charge as much for the coffee if they didn't do that.
Ed Men Are Not Women wrote,
It's politics. People got tired of paying $12 for 8 ounces of trash coffee mixed with 3 pounds of sugar and a gallon of cream while having their far-left extremist political views crammed down their throats. If you're going to overcharge for trash, you need to keep your head down and sell coffee. It is legitimately going woke made them go broke, and they deserve it all.
Ed Thunderker 8910 wrote,
If it's just my community, but Starbucks has great value in comparison to its competition. And we've almost got a Starbucks per 10,000 people in my community, like we love it.
At Lunaredelver 2972 wrote,
Starbucks was my favorite place to go as a teenager. I'd meet up with my bestie, get a medium white chocolate mocha and a brownie. She'd get a black coffee and a croissant, and we'd sit at a table and play cards. Usually it was a Starbucks attached to a Barnes and Noble we'd stop by after checking out what new books are out. No one ever really bothered us or kicked us out because the ones we visited were usually not super busy, so we'd go for hours and hours at a time. We don't go to Starbucks anymore though. Not only did I move out of state, I'm in FL now, and she's still up in MD, so kinda hard to hang out lol. But both of us are also kinda tight on money. Thankfully, it's easy for both of us to save a little bit for our visit with how rarely we get to see one another, so it's hypothetically possible to keep choosing Starbucks. But we actually went to Wawa last time she was in FL with me, and we got a lot more bang for our buck there. And went to Dunkin' Donuts when I was last in AMD, but NGL the space there isn't great, and we don't have a quiet small coffee shop in our area. There's family-owned / individual ones for sure, but they're usually pretty busy, and we don't want to take up space for several hours playing cards in a busy cafe like that. So I'm considering making lunch for us that includes homemade coffee and just taking it out on a picnic next time and play cards outside like that instead. Me and her weren't the biggest fans Starbucks ever had, but that's two consistent and loyal customers they've lost, and we are not exactly special cases. I'll bet a lot of other people preferred Starbucks with friends until recently, and what are dropping rates and other statistics if not a bunch of anecdotes put together and given a number?
At the Entity 975 wrote,
The local coffee shops in my area are cheaper than Starbucks, serve significantly better quality drinks both because better ingredients and the baristas actually have time to make them, and are just better.
At Miva Princiata 897 wrote,
As a small biz barista, a co-worker of mine had a second job at Starbucks, and they just gave so many stores a TWODAY notice of their store closing.
At Moonstar 3833 wrote,
I was told growing up that whenever you see a Starbucks in your area, the place is about to get gentrified. It happened with a few of the neighborhoods of my city, so I always avoided it growing up. Nowadays, I avoid it because I've heard that the prices are high, but the food and drinks aren't worth it.
At Deesbrew 2191 wrote,
I am about to go to Dunkin' and get their $6 meal deal. Comes with a coffee, breakfast sandwich, and even hash browns. Starbucks is definitely going down. The competition is insane.
At line 0797 wrote.
How could you overlook the fact that they stopped manually making espresso drinks and switched to automatic machines sometime in the early 2000s? The quality shot down so much after that change.
At Fleece Johnson wrote.
I'm glad huge corporate chains like Starbucks and MC Donald's are struggling because their entire purpose is to make their shareholders crazy fucking rich by exploiting every possible thing from their workers to customers.
At Mothi 2003 wrote.
Local win, my favorite coffee shop actually drove out the Starbucks that tried to open. Their coffee is at least half the price and is delicious. They rotate flavors by the season, and their food is all from a bakery down the street.
At Cab 16 CS wrote.
I genuinely believe if they could lower prices to a fair price, offer good deals and reward system, maybe their credibility would return. The profit they make off a coffee is very high already. It would attract more customers to actually go in.
At X0, Faith 0X wrote.
I'm glad they are closing down the way they teach their workers to make the coffee with mostly ice and almost $10. Who can even afford that when everything else is so expensive? I just go to MC Donald's and get a $2 coffee. They are just greedy. It's just disgusting. SMH.
Tyler He 4PF wrote.
Starbucks for me isn't a coffee shop, it's a fast food joint that specializes in sugary drinks. 2 drinks and 2 sandwiches or pastries cost me $30. It's not economical for me to go every day. So I will go like every 2 months. $30 for something that disappears in 5 minutes is ridiculous. If the items were cheaper, I'd go every day. But they've priced everything so high, it's just not worth it.
At Mindhunger wrote.
Starbucks today is tasteless colored water. Even the whipped cream has no flavor. And it seems the sip lids are designed so that you get no satisfaction from your sip, so you have to drink more.
At Godeniruon wrote.
I think young people do not drink coffee as much as millennials and baby boomer do. We are more into Red Bull, Monster, Prime, more into energy drinks than paying plus $10 on one small coffee.
As Stephen Roller wrote.
In addition to everything else people are commenting on here, bad music played loudly does not provide good coffee shop vibes. That's a big problem with Starbucks nowadays at most locations.
A Jacob ZS1 Chu wrote.
The Starbucks craze was just a trend. Like any other trend, they soon die. I'm a black coffee drinker. Possible only got a coffee there once or twice. It was meh.
A James Verhoff 1899 wrote.
You don't have to be affluent to get specialty coffee and make very, very good coffee at home. $20 will get you some really good beans in pretty much any city, and another $15 also will get you a mocha pot that will make something that is more or less indistinguishable from a double shot of espresso once you put it into a drink. Milk frothers aren't expensive. French presses are even more affordable. A bit of experimenting and pretty much anyone can make their own drinks at home. As a bonus, you get to open the doors to a whole world of coffee. Starbucks, like Folgers and the rest, over-roast their beans to create a consistent flavor profile. Once you start making your own, you can get any roast level you want. You can also get different regional coffees, which give different flavors. And once you've spent a few months playing around with that, Starbucks no longer makes sense. Why spend that kind of money for a rushed experience and, frankly, an inferior product when I can stay at home in my pajamas, spend less money overall, and have a better drink in the end?
At Lyricalto Karev 4747 wrote,
Man, this video really reminded me of how much I miss 2018 and before, when I just spent hours in a Starbucks with a laptop, tapping away at an article or just people watching and maybe doodling on a napkin. I'd buy a new cup or a croissant once in a while, tap away a bit more, then finally go home feeling satisfied. I guess I can do that at a local place, but yeah, lol.
Pam Matthew 1916 wrote,
$6 for a small 120Z is madness. While I can go to Dunkin' for double the size and a breakfast sandwich. With hash browns, yes, I'd take that any day over a tiny cup of coffee that's unaffordable AF.
At AllyCat 753 wrote,
I will always prefer an independent shop, but that's not to say I never go to chains. Chains are great for consistency and signature items that you sometimes crave. The problem with Starbucks is their coffee quality is literally disgusting currently. I won't even order from them when they're the only coffee shop in the airport. I would rather not buy a coffee at all. A long time ago, their coffee was fine, but not anymore.
At Review 5594 wrote,
Agree. Couple years ago, I arranged to meet friends at S-Bucks. We had a good time talking BUT. The 15-minute wait for refills is insane. I just drink my own coffee at home, fresh ground beans at home, as much frothed milk and cream as I want, or if traveling, I enjoy good cheap gas station coffee. I never buy S-Bucks coffee, not their burr beans either. Nothing.
At Wonder Thigh wrote,
People like me are getting the short stick because I only drink cold brew. It's like $6 PO in T50 for a large cold brew at local shops, but $4 PO in T75 to 5 PO in T25 for a venti at Starbucks, which gives like twice the amount of coffee. It's simply cheaper for me to go to Starbucks and the free refills are nice. But it's harder to find sit-downs now.
At Just Dirt wrote,
They hitched their wagon to Israel and being anti-union, which killed a ton of their goodwill with their biggest market of customers. Once you lose the college kids and millennial professionals, the store feels lifeless. Then you see how they remade floor layouts to prioritize mobile orders, and you realize they killed the cafe part of their cafe store for a quick buck.
At Blissful Martini wrote,
There are literally 7 Starbucks in my general area alone. All the cool mom and pop / lesser known shops are very few and far in between, mostly in the city Atlanta. I've been switching to milk tea over coffee, so I find myself at Starbucks less and less often, but that's literally all that's around me. I have to drive an hour up to the mall to get a Thai tea with oat milk.
At Just a Person Y6C wrote,
I literally only ever go to Starbucks if I'm walking for an extended period of time to get from point A to point B, and I need some water. I'm not giving them any money, so thank God it's illegal to charge for a cup of water, not bottled water though, which makes no sense.
At Ecliptic P wrote,
I get Starbucks as a treat sometimes. Not for the coffee, I just really like mocha cookie frappuccinos. However, there's like 5 cafes near my school besides Starbucks. Everyone goes to Starbucks BC, they're primarily rich white girls, but I tend to go to the Little Mom and pop across the street if I have cash on me. They're cash only, cheaper and better coffee.
At Eric Mal 20 wrote,
I live near a small downtown area, but there are 8 coffee shops, one being Starbucks. All the local shops are always busy, and the Starbucks is always empty.
At Serataman 222 wrote,
I live in Australia, and Starbucks just recently launched here for the second time. The first time they failed miserably due to our coffee culture, which largely involves going to smaller independent coffee shops. This time, I'm not sure what they've done to try and be different from the last time, but it sure seems like not much. Like you said, they seem to be more of a fast food dessert shop than a coffee shop. I'm not sure how many locations there are in my city, but there is one about a 10 minutes drive from my house, and that one is in a location with very high car traffic but almost no pedestrian traffic. It has a drive-through and is right next to a KFC on one side and a McDonald's on the other. I went there once and the interior also did not seem particularly inviting, so that combined with the location makes it seem like they're positioning themselves as a takeaway fast food restaurant. I tried one drink from them the one time I went and remember it being so offensively sweet that I couldn't finish it. I got a headache from the amount of sugar in it. This is coming from someone with something of a sweet tooth. I'm not sure if there's an option to order it with less sugar, but if there is, then it wasn't apparent to me from looking at the menu. Also, I didn't ask for any extra pumps of syrup or anything. I literally ordered a standard drink as is from the menu. Overall, I can't really see Australians choosing Starbucks over other coffee shops and will be surprised if it survives here. The one near my house is in an excellent location. It's positioned right before you turn onto the freeway in a high-traffic area, so it is super convenient to grab a coffee in your car on the way to work to drink while you sit on the freeway, usually in traffic. Even then, though, the McDonald's next to it sells barista-made coffee, which I think is a lot better adjusted to the Australian palate, so I'd be surprised if Starbucks can capture even half the market in that particular location. Anyway, I hope someone found this comment interesting, although it was quite long. If people reply to me here and are interested, in a couple years, I might come back to update on the Starbucks near my house if it's still there or not.
At Rachel Mays 3064 wrote,
Starbucks is going to be one of those businesses that goes extinct in the US, but keeps a strong brand presence in Japan. It's still seen as high class here.
At Ratch71923 wrote,
Happy to report internally that the company is a wreck as well. It's rumored, not sure if confirmed, that IT was heavily hit by the corporate side layoffs, and it shows. Internal apps are constantly bugged or fully broken. There's a change to the DPM twice a month that always ends up introducing more issues. Customer Rewards app is ridiculously buggy for being what's effectively a banking app solely for Starbucks. And the new AI inventory management and counting systems are such a laughable joke that it shouldn't be the reality we're living. AYEYE also handles the bulk of our scheduling, which is also beyond fucked. Drinks are only going to get more inconsistent with lackadaisical training and surprise early launches. Starbucks is actively shooting itself in the foot and wondering why it hurts.
At Bixth97 wrote,
The fact it was inspired by European coffee culture is completely lost now because they do not serve good coffee. You go there to buy a 50 grams sugar beverage where the burnt coffee has been completely covered up.
At Xavier Jones 6852 wrote,
I don't get why folks would spend so much for coffee though. I make my lattes at home for cents and it tastes way better. I don't even charge myself extra for extra caramel, and I spell my name right.
At Xavier Jones 6852 wrote,
I worked for Starbucks, but not a standalone store. It was in a Macy's. I met so many cool PPL there, so this is sad to hear Loki even though I hadn't worked there in 10 years lol.
At Boop79 wrote,
The change in their vibe and prices is what bothered me. The workers are often rude and the place is dirty. I can make much cleaner coffee at home.
At Crazy4 GTA1 wrote,
My mom always used to go to Starbucks. But as of recently, she got a Keurig and she's been making her own and often better coffee now. She even has a whole station set up with a bunch of different flavors and creamers.
At Defartmaster 4202 wrote,
My take on a lot of chain restaurants is that almost all of them cost the exact same as going to a genuinely nice locally operated business now, so if I'm going to spend like $6 or $7 on a drink regardless, why would I go to the hell chain with miserable atmosphere and even more miserable employees when I could go to literally anywhere else and actually get good coffee somewhere I can sit down for a while. Fast food restaurants are out of their damn mind with the prices they're charging these days.
At Miss, person wrote,
MC Donald's has Tim Hortons' old coffee contract in Canada, so their coffee is pretty stellar. I also boycott Tim Hortons for their use of temporary foreign workers. Their food and service is now crap and they treat their workers less nicely than in the past. Also, locals no longer have job options.
At Night Korea Club wrote,
751 I tried to work at a Starbucks in Detroit for a solution to needing rent in 2019. There was absolutely no real training and the environment was completely overwhelming. You're put on the floor as a third or fourth person supposed to train based on how busy the shop is. And you're immediately just a helper who is supposed to know how to use every machine and make every type of drink. It's insane. Their drinks are expected to be put out within minutes while you've just finished your minutes worth of training. And they pay bottom of the barrel plus you can split fractions of percentages of tips with your overworked managers and superiors. LOL.
At Tanya9671 wrote,
It's just way too expensive, and I have to buy a small 1BC. I can't handle too much coffee. And for a small, and if it's an iced drink, it's just not worth it.
At Sophia7374 wrote,
I used to stop by Starbucks daily. The quality of their coffee went way down. Why am I going to continue paying $6 for a coffee that is so mediocre and immediately lukewarm before I walk out the door? They can redecorate all they want, but if your coffee is crap, you will sink.
At Mandarina's MDA wrote,
Let's also highlight the fact that their coffee tastes so bad and artificial. And I am not gonna even mention their food's choices, plastic and cancer food at premium price. Plus reputation damage for siding with genocider Israel.
At Ariel, Tellez5464 wrote,
I didn't start becoming a coffee person up until the pandemic came. All I knew was Starbucks. Then I started trying other coffee places. And I realized that Starbucks drinks taste so horrible. It's either super burnt or super watery. And they were more expensive compared to other competitors. And also, the point reward system is horrible.
Tabletopsy wrote,
Former Starbucks barista here. Starbucks is awful. The management is disgusting and the benefits don't outweigh the mental strain it puts on you. Starbucks has done the back to Starbucks so much that there isn't anything to even go back to. Every time it just industrializes more and makes people more and more miserable. Here's a list of rules that were implemented right before I left in September 2025. No using the given espresso shot glasses unless it's for 3 specific drinks. Out of the millions of buttons, you can only use 2 on the whole thing, even if in previous years it was intended to be used to its fullest extent. No writing on cups that alludes to romantic intent, pop culture, or politics X. Love your outfit, slay queen, free Palestine Etsy. Socks cannot be any other color than black or white. Any violation gets you sent home, and if you don't return in dress code, you can get fired. Applies to whole dress code. The uniform website was nuked of all color, texture, and individuality. New dress code rules meant that even if you bought previously Starbucks approved purple, yellow, or pink shirts, you will not be reimbursed and must purchase new uniforms. I took over the daily and weekly count systems. Even if the AI screwed it up, you will be blamed if it's wrong. You can get written up for not personally welcoming anyone who walked into the store. They don't all yell welcome I end because they care. They do it because they have to. No closing the stores under any circumstances unless legal or severe medical problems. If it's only one person in the whole store doing drive-through orders, mobile and delivery, and cafe orders, including food and restocking, you can't close. These were the most bogus and insane rules that I never followed. There's many more rules and many horror stories that current baristas and ex-baristas can share. Starbucks is an awful company that abuses and lets customers abuse its employees. And to any management reading this read to defend, fuck you. You're a bootlicker and I cause no threat to you by speaking out. I don't work there anymore, so there's nothing to report me for. I've seen y'all do it before, and good luck trying to convince me that making people want to kill themselves at work every day is better for the company.
At Aliu6562 wrote,
Oh, also another thing about China. We love tea. I think that can't be emphasized enough. The tea market, especially milk tea if we're talking about day-to-day consumption of ready-made drinks from stores, is massive. It's huge. And it's a niche that Starbucks has historically failed to corner. BC. They are an American company and don't really understand good tea. And even if they did make good tea, their brand doesn't revolve around it. BC. Why the hell would someone go to Starbucks for tea when they could go to any other store? Chaji, Hatia, etc. all offer the same prices as Starbucks more or less. But far, far higher quality tea, believe me. The difference is night and day.
At Aliu6562 wrote,
There was this theory, I can't remember the name, but I remember the meat and bones of it, that basically said that a product and service can get progressively shittier and shittier, and companies will try to boil the frog slowly, so to speak. But humans aren't frogs. We do notice eventually when something is shittier than we remember it being, and there will be a point when we inevitably decide that we've had enough and quit using it. For some people, it's higher or lower, but the median person tends to have around the same tolerance, and once that tolerance is hit, people begin to leave en masse. Starbucks had evidently hit that point, and arguably, so have many other chains like McDonald's too. Their service and products have gotten progressively worse while getting more expensive, and people have decided that enough is enough. The brand name and familiarity bias is no longer enough to justify using a service they no longer recognize, a product they no longer enjoy, and all for a price they can no longer afford. Companies tend to forget that they are driven by the consumer, not their shareholders. And once the consumer leaves, they take the price of the company with them.
At Lemonmouth7895 wrote,
My local coffee spot that I work at is actually thriving as a third space. I think there is definitely still a customer base that wants third spaces. It's just that those customers do not want to support a giant corporate chain like Starbucks.
At Allison Valdevies 8588 wrote,
IMO, Starbucks' downfall during COVID was their supply chain. I couldn't order my favorite drink for 9 months. White mocha sauce was out. When they finally got it back, it was inconsistent quality-wise. Not to mention, the prices skyrocketed. The indoor customer experience tanked. Gone are the days of the slow jazz, dimmed lights, and friendly study environment. Now it's overrun by mobile orders, loud music, and a lack of comfortable seating. Starbucks has lost their identity. I still go on occasion, but prefer my Nespresso over Starbucks.
At Dog8658 wrote,
Honestly, just the whole business logic that these mega companies employ always seems smart at first, but it really just gets some short-term returns with often longer-term consequences. Honestly, tracking all the data doesn't make a GD difference if you ask me. My local 7-Eleven has a rewards system that I use, and the employees love me because I always give them great reviews. That makes the managers and upper levels happy when the satisfaction score is high, but really, whether I fill it out or not, I'm still going to go to 7-Eleven because it is legitimately right next to my apartment building. One day when we move, they're going to wonder why they have a tangible drop in scores, and they're going to be harassing those poor employees to make up the difference. when they probably can't do anything different than what they're already doing.
At Am Harbinger Reactions wrote,
The drink costs $8, $12, and it's mostly ice. The sandwich is about $9, and finally the tax. Not spending $20 for a reheated sandwich and a drink made mostly with ice.
At Jessicren wrote,
Sometimes I travel for work, so I'll be in unfamiliar places needing to work/kill time between appointments. In the last year, I've walked into so many random Starbucks to see that there's no seating even though there's clearly room for it, and I'll turn around and leave. I always end up having to apologize to the baristas because they've already greeted me. I'm like, sorry. I was here to sit down, so I gotta go somewhere else. They always seem to understand how stupid the setup is.
At Sandler wrote,
I don't think people necessarily hate Starbucks. I still go there if I'm on a road trip and just need a decent standard drink and decent standard food. However, they haven't been able to compete or maintain pace with the newest wave of coffee makers. The boutique coffee shops like Blue Bottle Coffee in California, which has also made its way into Japan and elsewhere. And a lot of other boutique coffee places are in a different league than Starbucks. Starbucks is simply too sugary and most of the baristas are unskilled. However, that said, Starbucks could be good if it chose to focus and improve on its quality. There are some really great Starbucks reserves in Tokyo that I could easily go to every day. The baristas are skilled, the environment is great, and it has fresh pastries and savory food.
At Backwood Burner 4000 wrote,
We probably spend 200 a month at Starbucks. One day, we were near one and my wife walked over to get a water for her and my son. The staff member there denied her water for not buying anything. My wife didn't have her wallet/phone. Who denies a woman and child water at 6 p.m. in a Phoenix summer?
At Yummy Fruitsuous 993 wrote,
Expensive ass subpar coffee. There used to be a Starbucks at a train station near me. They ran on daily commuters buying morning coffee. It's just too expensive for them now, so the Starbucks closed down. Only product I can get from them nearby is iced coffee at a supermarket.
At Spenson 2714 wrote,
I was a Starbucks partner for about 10 years between 2007 to 2017, and back then it seemed more about image and branding. You were cool if you worked at Starbucks. You were cool if you drank Starbucks. Just like if you carried an iPhone, wore certain clothes, etc. Now the culture is shifting and we're in a very different place. We value smaller, more local businesses than the big corporate establishments. It's definitely for the best, I think, but I had a good experience overall with working for the company at that time.
At NASA Art wrote,
This reminds me that I got an 8-hour paycheck from Starbucks because at training they said that if we were polite and helpful, people will continue to come back even if they can find the same thing somewhere else for cheaper. It was clear they were either delusional or setting us up to take the fall, so I never went back.
At Baron Vonjo 1929 wrote,
Starbucks got me into coffee. Started with their coffee milkshakes and worked my way to normal coffee. But honestly, they just aren't consistent or good to me anymore. The employees are. Odd to say the least, it's unpleasant to go into the stores every time I go because of the employees, or I say that as a gay dude law. The company itself isn't good and treats the employees badly. A lot of the consumers who propped up Starbucks for the last 20 years are very against many of the things Starbucks does now. I just don't really see the need to go to Starbucks. They just tore down a Long John Silver's across from my local Starbucks and are now building a 7 Brew. Very excited for that. I go downtown for local cafes to sit down if I want. I prefer Chick-fil-A coffee or just gas station coffee Vs, there really isn't a single reason to go to Starbucks. Expensive and again, not consistent at all. I can't think of a single other chain with as much variety as taste as Starbucks. Even the same locations. One days it's very good. Next time you go it's bad.
Charms and wrote.
It really has been the perfect storm. The trends are moving away from the kinds of drinks they make, and people just do not have the money to overpay for mediocre at best drinks anymore.
Ed Betune wrote.
As a current barista who's seen the quick degradation of the brand for the last year, and never been one to drink the Kool-Aid, I want to shove this video down the throats of all of my bosses at it. OBTW, so everything our new Wonderboy CEO has done has been a bald-faced lie. Prices have gone up on everything. Menus are more difficult with more promotional products than ever. We're still understaffed. And we're all forced into some of the most inane micromanagement policies to return to third-place vibes, while still being forced to meet the demands of quick customer service. I work at a drive-through store. The fact that the company has had a revolving door of CEOs for the last few years, not limited to Howard Schultz himself, that haven't been able to properly bargain with the unions, protect employees, and drown in the competition, makes me glad that this place is sinking.
At K, Jackson 8538 wrote.
Their company has been bad from when I was younger. My family knew a lot of people who were racially profiled and treated badly there. Then now with it being on 2 different boycott lists and with how much calories their drinks have, no one I know wants to drink there.
At Metropolis 3931 wrote.
No kidding, their coffee is terrible. Why overpriced takes forever to get, and the order is wrong 50 of the time. Pre-COVID, I would purchase the dark roast when I was pressed for time. 12 ounces room for cream. Post-COVID, they raised prices $4 PO in T95 and started charging for creamer as an add-on, which is fine, only now I couldn't add cream myself and had to rely on the barista. Problem is they cold never at the ratio right 2 to 3 tablespoons for 12 ounces. Sometimes there would be no cream or almost zero cream, or it would be half cream and half coffee. It is not that hard, just add cream, and that is it. Now I just make it myself, or go to a local coffee house where the prices are cheaper and the coffee is much better.
Azazi 830X wrote.
Starbucks recently changed their Stars rewards system. Now each reward is limited on how much money is covered. 25 stars covers 1 for add-ons, 100 stars covers 6 for hot iced coffee tea, 200 stars covers 10 for handcrafted drinks, anything that requires a shot or shaking. 300 stars covers sandwiches or packaged lunch. 400 stars covers 16 off merchandise or beans. Previously 20 stars reward points are rewarded too for each dollar spent. I don't remember if double star days are still around, but you double the amount of stars you get for that one day for each month. Employees get 3 stars per dollar and 6 for double star day. I still remember when a hot coffee reward was 50 stars, and you would get 25 stars for using a personal cup. I don't remember if you still get that reward now, but I love to be environmentally friendly.
Clemens Prod 5756 wrote.
I live in the second largest city in New Mexico, which would be a small city in any other state. And it pains me that we continue to keep making NEW Starbucks all over this city. None have closed down. We add at least 2 a year in my city. It's ridiculous. Like, bro, we only have 2 Dutch Bros and 2 Dunkin' Donuts and about 17 Starbucks. It is unbelievable. Like, can we get some other chain coffee places instead of another Starbucks? Happy for y'all where these are closing down, but not here.
At from Thev wrote.
The store in my neighborhood just closed permanently after a year of only having the drive-thru open. To be fair, I live in a high crime area, and the Starbucks had been robbed at gunpoint many times, so there may have been other factors. But yeah, I haven't been to a Starbucks in years. I made my coffee at home these days and enjoy it quite a bit. Let the big companies fail, we don't need them.
At Devendicker 3516 wrote,
Their latte tastes like warm milk. And making us push on the payment device they hand you in the drive-through just to push you to tip is horrible and rude.
At Artastic_friend wrote,
The only 2 Starbucks stores in my town were closed. I never was much of a Starbucks enjoyer, but one of my friends worked at one of the stores and had moved to the other when the first closed, only to lose that job too when the second closed.
At Thornbane wrote,
Tim Hortons Canada kept Starbucks at bay, however, they have gone downhill as well. Some blame immigration, but it's honestly capitalism and cost cutting. Don't he even get a napkin when going through the drive-through with a donut or muffin or bagel? Come on guys, these are messy items, it's not coffee.
At West Dakota 9180 wrote,
A friend of mine used to work at Starbucks and she told me that their policy prioritizes making as many drinks as quickly as they can, which is why 90 of their espresso drinks are burnt and require heavy amounts of sugar to cover it up. If it tastes bad, what you gonna do? Return it. You already late for work 'cause you got Starbucks.
At Ashley 1017 wrote,
Maybe if I wasn't paying 6 to 7 for a small cup, when I could easily get a massive one at other places, maybe I would actually like it again.
At Jmasterpoolmister wrote,
Starbucks had awful coffee. Every other coffee shop was better. I hated it before it was even cool to hate Starbucks. They would try to sandwich 2 Starbucks on both sides of any mom-pop shop or competitive shops.
Joseph Eadman wrote,
I avoid going here because when driving through they push the card reader on you, and I feel like I am being guilted towards leaving a tip. I know this is on me, and it's optional, but it's enough to have me avoid going there. I am sure it is to promote tipping from higher up in the corporate food chain, but it is why I choose to go elsewhere 99 of the time.
At Frankernesta Maldonado, TQ1JW wrote,
I quit a bit over 2 years ago. I'd much rather wait for lunch and get a meal instead of one coffee or tea for $9. Palo Bowl El Palo Loco 6 mini chicken teriyaki bowl, what about 8?
At Ibla Methabarrels wrote,
As a barista who just left at SBC, they repaying the CEO one of the best CEO wages in the world with declining prices. They repaying him to fly his private to the corporate office. Starbucks became a shill to billionaires forgetting about customers and baristas along the way, and it is obvious to both parties that the company no longer cares.
At Singing Bluebell 598 wrote,
I'm from Australia and tried Starbucks for the first time when I was in Schiphol Airport, Amsterdam. Biggest mistake ever. Coffee was so bad I threw it away and realized I would have rather had no coffee than Starbucks coffee ale now.
At Not Available 9479 wrote,
They supported is a RL. I am not supporting a GNOC idea. Along with MCD and LDS, which fed the it for free. I am here and more money, by the way, for staying away. Strangely, there was an addiction to STLBCKS when I was detoxing from them. Be careful.
At Sienna 2103 wrote,
I rarely get anything from there. It's like a cake pop every parent who sees 5 months as a little treat, and that's it. However, even that is overpriced. I'll be more than glad to contribute to their downfall.
At Killing Moon 423 wrote,
I worked there for 7 years. I watched BRistas who were college freshmen flunk out because they were didn't time to take exams. Like all of America, it is not employment, it's exploitation.
At An Illustrating wrote,
I owe Starbucks for helping me learn to appreciate real coffee. Before them, I used to dislike it. But after years of trying the many different sugary ways to mask their burnt beans, I came to Udar and appreciate my dad's CA con LE, which he'd brew every time I came to visit. It made me miss the scent of the one styrofoam cups from the bakery deli that powered my parents' mornings during my childhood. I chill at home with a nice cup in the morning every now and then. A little half and half with a teaspoon of brown sugar is all I need to add. Kudos to the rise of coffee bars at all, but Starbucks never adjusted with the general public, so down you go.
At Shiba wrote,
Starbucks was always notably more expensive than the median local coffee shop in Taiwan, but it is still somewhat popular. There is still crazy expensive places where it's $15 to $20 USD for a coupe of specialty black coffee at places in Taipei, but either way as Starbucks is one of the more expensive options.
Ecology 24 wrote,
Came here just to say I agree. Hiring a $100 million D-bag and laying off 1,000s of baristas was the line for me. Everything they are doing now sucks and represents the worst of end-stage capitalism.
A Tales from the Moribund 702 wrote,
It would be a lot easier for people to support a local coffee shop if 95 of these local coffee shops didn't charge exactly the same prices as Starbucks. I am convinced that that's the reason why a lot of places haven't gone under yet. That, and because the average American, namely 18 to 35, are so utterly irresponsible and idiotic with their money, that their compulsion to spend 35 of their income on crappy fast food is keeping these places in business, allowing them to feel totally comfortable raising prices, and contributing to them as consumers losing more purchasing power. It might seem over the top, but when I see lines wrapped around Starbucks, Taco Bell, McDonald's, Etsy, it makes me want to withdraw from the outside world. It's like people are begging not to be able to afford anything anymore. People shouldn't have to organize to boycott Starbucks or Taco Bell. They should act as the people in China did, and we'd all be paying at most $4 for a Frappuccino and $1 po and $T50 for a 5-layer burrito.
Ebekos wrote,
In my country, we the indie lacks of coffee shop. Our local franchise is still better than Starbucks, so boycott them from defending IDF is quite easy choice to make.
At Mamo7278 wrote,
Starbucks sells scoops of ice and sugar with a splash of coffee for $8. It's wild. Their shops are bland, with hard and comfortable chairs and no ambience. I'll always choose a cozy local shop or make a tune over SB. I'm glad big corporations are seeing a decline. Proud of Americans for choosing to spend their hard-earned money elsewhere.
Casper Jovier wrote,
Take it all, give back nothing. Acquire more wealth than others, let it rot in a foreign bank. As people get poorer, blame them for laziness and wonder where the pitchforks came from.
At LeBrian6568 wrote,
I have been living in China for over a decade. Starbucks in China is too pricey compared to others. And there is Luckin now, although Luckin's coffee is not customizable, they only make bean to cup coffee programmed with a single button.
At Max Calder 1010 wrote,
Where they went wrong is the food. I'm a big breakfast consumer. Starbucks is my last resort, lol. ILL have Chick-fil-A, Dunkin' McDonald's or Wendy's breakfast before Starbucks nasty flavorless dry breakfast food.
Skokid wrote,
There is a hilarious blog post from Sweden made a few years ago. It joked around with how Starbucks did zero market research and just assumed what would work in USA would work in Sweden. The problem is that the third-place coffee market is deadly serious. The biggest threat to democratic stability is the rising coffee prices. If there is no coffee, we will burn down the parliament before lunch. So trying to sell overpriced coffee-flavored sugar drinks didn't go well here. Starbucks ran away with the tail between its legs. Didn't even announce it.
At Mr. Sasha 89 wrote,
As a European that drinks proper coffee, meaning not one with 300 milliliters of milk and a shot of coffee, I could never fathom why would anyone spend 5x the money for that crap.
at PRR 665 wrote,
Starbucks permits employees to wear stupid gender tags on their aprons. I hate that, and I really hate seeing a stupid BR is still wearing a they/them gender tag. That guarantees no tip.
At Cangel 5754 wrote,
The reward system is terrible. They got rid of buy one get one free or half off and coupon days. They rarely have double stare days even. Prices are now astronomical, and if you add anything it's a 80 upcharge. Not only that, most of the time the drinks are incorrectly made, and I hate asking for something to be remade and tell them they are wrong. It used to be a once in a while thing, but now they screw up just about every order. Adding coffee when I cannot have caffeine to cream drinks, making iced hot or hot iced. Not adding lemonade to a green tea. Simple things. It makes me not want to bother. They also got rid of the cozy chairs and relaxed atmosphere.
at Muckandrel RD wrote,
I am a cafe fiend and I just never go to Starbucks anymore since I have a better experiences in other local cafes. One of my local cafes is pretty small, but has a bunch of seating options from couch cushions to high share seating, a mini artist alley and gallery to support local artists, and occasionally musicians perform. This all accumulates into a comfy cozy vibe where people are able to truly chill and collaborate than the corporate and diluted experience of a Starbucks.
at GC 6390 wrote,
Why would I pay $7 for coffee when I can just go to Dunkin' and pay like $3 and it tastes better? The price for a coffee at SB is the same price I pay for the meal deal, a sandwich, hash browns, and a coffee at Dunkin'.
at Hot Mudders wrote,
China mostly lowered the poverty line to declare poor people not poor. Country obviously is doing better than the ES80, but let's not be fooled into thinking the average citizen has it great still.
at Ainser 2903 wrote,
Locally in my city, only rich kids go into Starbucks, and most people still prefer little cafes, coffee shops, and KFIT arms instead of that overpriced coffee shop with self-service that is soup.
at Nomadic Cleric 5672 wrote,
Noah did this mention that Starbucks tastes like garbage. I'd be very glad to get it when I'm traveling and pay the prices if they had a blend that didn't taste burnt.
at Asbob 1951 wrote,
10 PO in T825 in Phoenix, Arizona. Anyway, the homeless had taken over the Starbucks in 2019. Last time I ventured inside, there were 2 employees and 3 homeless. Us 5 customers sat outside on the porch.
at CryptoPayPI wrote,
Look, China's technology ain't booming. It's a type of power perceived is power achieved strategy. Starbucks is on a free fall, yes'm, but this video is low-key promoting China. With the level of detail you put into this, I can't help but think where you get this info from. DeepSeek?
at Lundber wrote,
Such bullshit. They took tons of people out of poverty. Nonsense, they ruined the livelihoods of millions of coffee growers and producers. They should be put in jail,